Welcome to True Tall Tales, when reality is stranger than fiction. My name is Sunny Boy, and welcome to a new episode of Triple T. Hey guys, welcome back for another True Tall Tale. Now, basically a couple of months ago, my friend Danielle, she bought me a ticket to go to see an Aussie comedian named Tommy Little, which was at Enmore Theatre, part of like Comedy Festival. And I said I didn't know who that was. And I am really bad with names or anything like that. And she's like, how do you not know who Tommy Little is? He's like my favorite comedian. And, you know, he does the breakfast show with Carrie Bickmore. And I said the reason why I haven't heard that is because I don't have a car. And the only time you really listen to the radio is if you drive a car or you're in someone else's car. I love the radio, but I wouldn't really play the radio at home. Radio is just so car worthy. And anyway, when she showed me a picture, I'm like, oh, I've seen that guy's face before. So I did know of him, but I haven't heard him talk much because I don't listen to radio and I haven't seen him in live comedy. And she goes, look, you're really going to enjoy him. He really reminds me of you. And I was like, oh, what a compliment. What are you trying to say? I'm funny? She goes, no, you'll know what I mean. He has like the same, he tells stories the same as you and like just like little weird things and stuff. I was like, wow, I'm really curious to see this Tommy Little guy. I said, is he little? She was like, no, he's normal height. And I was like, oh, okay, just the last name then. Anyway, so we go, it's her favorite comedian. She's all excited. She's seen him heaps before and she's prepping it up. And, you know, we had a couple of beers and we got into Enmore Theatre. And he starts talking about how he found out he had ADHD later in life. And, you know, I'm listening and I'm like, that's so funny. Like, I'm in my late 30s now. I've just found out I've got ADHD. I know for people who are listening or watching this on YouTube, it's like every single person has ADHD now. I know it's like a trend and everything like that, but I'm one of those people that do have ADHD. From my friends telling me my whole life, like, dude, like you should get checked out. I swear you got ADHD, and not in a bad way. I've always said like, why? Like, is that bad? Like, am I offending you? Am I doing anything bad? They're like, no, man. Like, you're just always energetic. Like you talk a lot. That's not a bad thing. And a lot of people with ADHD, are usually in the arts, and I'm in the arts as well. So it's interesting, like as when mental health and things become more, more viewable and understanding because no one knew what mental health was back in the 80s, but now we're getting educated enough with like Instagram and the news in our phones more and more about mental health, and I think it's a really, really good thing. But with ADHD, so I actually haven't been diagnosed by a doctor, and the reason, so I don't even know if I have it, but clearly I do. And everyone tells me I went to go see a doctor, and you got to get a referral, and it's a bit of a process. And when I found out it cost $1,500, I was like, I'm not paying $1,500 to find out that I've got ADHD when I already know I've got ADHD. And then I found out that when you do finally get the Ritalin tablets, they're about $38 to $40 a month as well. And I was like, bro, I don't even have a car in Sydney. Like, why am I going to get tested for ADHD that's going to cost me $1,500? And then after that, it's like I'm on a bloody gym membership of you've got to pay like $40 a month to suppress my feelings. And like I said, if I was doing anything wrong, I would do something about it, but I'm not. And so it's not really affecting me. It does affect me where I'm always up all night and always up in the morning. I don't really sleep much, but I'm not paying $1,500 to get diagnosed for a doctor to tell me that. And that's the reason why I haven't been diagnosed. So anyway, it's so funny. So he starts talking about how, later in life he got diagnosed in his comedy show. And then he starts going into the story about like it cost $1,500. And he's like, how can people find out that they're diagnosed when people can't afford that? And I was like, oh my God. And I elbow my friend Danielle. I'm like, so true. I think I know what you mean now, where he has the same stories as me. So I'm just enjoying this guy. He's fucking hilarious. And from story to story that he went, I'm like, that is so me. That is so me. And Danny's like, I told you, he has the same stories as you. I'm like, who is this guy? And how come, is he my double ganger? Or I'm his double ganger? Is that how you say it? Double ganger? Double ganger. Anyway, so I was just like in awe, but also laughing the whole time. But because she told me this, I'm just like looking for everything that was so similar between me and Tommy Little. Anyway, this is where the plot thickens. So he starts talking about that he has 2 dogs, right? And he starts talking about his family and relationships. He's single I don't know if he's single at the moment, but single at the moment. And he starts talking about his 2 dogs. And then the name of his dogs was Rocky and Rambo. Anyway, as soon as he said that on stage, I pissed my drink out. Like I was like that. And Danny's like, what? I'm like, bro, you know my family. So in my family, we have 2 cockatoo birds, Rocky and Rambo. So he has the same stories as me, the same names and heaps of things that he was saying, but like different. You know how they say it's like a parallel world where it's like same things but a little bit different. Like his were two dogs, mine were two cockatoos. Like it was just getting really weird. Anyway, where I'm going with this for this podcast, that's what is a great segue for me to get into my next story about which Tommy Little activated this from watching his show about how I accidentally killed my two family birds, Rocky and Rambo, which is the name of his dogs, Rocky and Rambo. I didn't kill his dogs, by the way. His dogs are very alive and they look very, very cute. But guys, for any of my listeners that don't know him in Australia or overseas, give a shout out. Check him out. He's hilarious, stand-up comedian. Tommy Little, radio host as well, really, really good entertainer. I'm so impressed by him because I love Eddie Murphy. I've dabbled, I've tried stand-up comedy many years ago, but like, yeah, it's very hard. So I respect that. It's a very scary thing to do, and you know how much I love Eddie Murphy, Raw and Delirious. Like I was watching at the age of 9. That's what made me want to get into acting and entertainment. Anyway, cut the story short, which never happened to me. So yeah, check out Tommy Little. Is where I'm going with this is my story about Rocky and Rambo. So for anyone that overseas listeners, because I know I have listeners in England and Europe and America and Canada and cockatoo birds, you've probably seen them. They're like a big white Australian white bird. They've got a big beak. And they've got like a yellow mohawk. So very iconic, very Australian. They're such a beautiful bird. They're like a parrot as well, where they can talk and they can learn words and everything. So the craziest thing is they live to about 70 years old. Isn't that crazy that the bird lives for 70 years? Like that's like a human life, like a proper, if humans get to that age, like that's like 70 is old. I had no idea, obviously, when I was little. So we had Rambo then, and growing up, Rambo was just always around. So my dad had, always blue cattle dogs and kelpies, and we had Rambo, the bird. And Rambo was, I don't know, to be honest with you, I don't know how we got him, if it was a rescue or my dad bought it. I don't even know how we got Rambo, but we always just had Rambo. Now, Rambo was literally part of the family. All the dogs were scared of him, and my brother was scared of Rambo as well. My brother hated Rambo because the thing about Rambo and cockatoos, I don't know if it's all cockatoos or if it's just Rambo's personality, that if you're scared of Rambo, he knows. So if you're scared of him, and he can't fly, by the way, so maybe he was a rescue bird, I'm not sure, but he couldn't fly. So he used to like do this walk like this. Well, for people who are listening to this, he just used to stand on like one foot, kind of like he was like dancing. Anyway, he could run pretty fast as well, and if you were scared of him, like my brother, he used to put out his wings and hiss at you and come toward you, like, and go like that, and he would bite you, like, and their beaks are really, really strong as well. I wasn't scared of him. I used to put him on my arm. My mum loved him. My mum, like my dad, like, well, he was the master. I can't remember if my sister liked Rambo or not. I could imagine she didn't. She wasn't really an animal person back then. Anyway, so. Like my mum and dad would have cheese on toast, Willy Whiskers, poke. Cheese and toast with the bird in the morning. It would have coffee. I'm not even joking. Like, it would eat the cheese and toast. It would drink the coffee, and it was just always there. I've even seen Rambo on one of my dog's backs, where the dog was walking around the yard, and the Rambo was like riding the dog, like how humans do with horses, which is just crazy. So we had it our whole lives growing up, and Dad always said, like, this bird is going to outlive me. So when I die, I want one of you kids to take this bird on. Of course, you know what I mean? Like, it was going to outlive him. That's how long they live for. And my brother's like, I'm not doing it. Like, the bird hates me and stuff. And then my sister said, I probably thought I was going to get it and stuff. And I didn't mind that. So anyway, like I said, it was just like a dog, and dogs are sometimes loved by by your mum and dad more than your kids. Like, it was the same value of love as a dog, and Rocky was part of our lives, and it was also really entertaining for like people who'd come to the house as well. Now, personality rise for Rambo as well is like Rambo was very good at talking. So things that it did say was it used to ring like the telephone, like when house phones were like massive in the 90s before mobile phones come out. So like it used to go like that. So just to paint a picture for you, my mum is like Filipino, Spanish, very Filo, has a bit of an accent. And my dad is like an Aussie bogan, kind of like Steve Irwin, but like Steve Irwin if he was bogan. My dad wears footy shorts, the singlet, thongs. I don't think I've ever seen him in shoes. And when I say thongs for the overseas listeners, they're like flip-flops, not my dad's wearing G-strings. He has Paul tattooed on his fingers, like his name, P-A-U-L, just in case he forgets. I'm not sure. 2 mermaids naked on his back, on each shoulder, just to paint a picture for you. He built a garage. Like, I grew up in Bundaberg as well, by the way. So he built a garage in the backyard. We lived on it like a couple of acres of land as well. And obviously the garage was like the man cave. So, my dad had like, he brew his own beer in there. He made his own vodka. He made his own rum. He had like a TV screen in there, surround sound speakers. So he'd play my dad's obsessed with music, plays music all night, watch boxing, and all his friends would come over and they'd sit in there and drink his homebrew beer and everything like that. It was just a man's dream, and he loved it. And he really was never in the house. He was always in the garage. And I remember this as being a little kid that my dad said, now, Sonny, the only time I would ever come in that house is when your mother would open that screen door and go, honey, dinner. Because she used to open the back door and say, for dinner. And my mum would be cooking all day and have this like amazing Filipino food, fried rice, spring rolls, bugoong, the lot. It's so good. Anyway, so obviously the bird would mimic these things. So Rambo used to like, brr, brr, brr. And then the second thing Rambo would say is, honey, dinner, like I'm not even joking. And to the point that if I had friends like in high school stay at my house, like, bro, your phone's ringing. I'm like, it's not, it's the cockatoo, it's Rambo. And they're like, bro, that sounds exactly the same. I'm like, I know, it's crazy. What else did he used to say? He used to say, fuck you. Like, not fuck, like F-U-C-K, B-U-C-K. Because my mum's, she speaks 3 languages. So she can't say fuck you. She says buck you. So she's like, angry or screaming at my dad. She goes, fuck you, honey, fuck you. So the Rambo, the bird, would be like, fuck you, like that. Anyway, so as you could imagine, if you had friends over, do you know how funny that is? If like one of our birds that says talking, ringing like the telephone, saying honey, dinner, fuck you. But yeah, it was funny. That's another thing as well. My mum couldn't say my dad's name. My dad's name's Paul. I shouldn't laugh, actually. It's really bad. She's the one that speaks more languages than me. I can't speak any other language. But yeah, so for Paul, she would say like fall. So she just calls him daddy, which kind of sounds bad. Or dad. Just like us kids would call him dad. Because that was easy for her. But to give you an example, for purple, my mum would say furful. So that's what she can't say. She can't say purple. She says furful. Anyway, so that paints a picture of Rambo over the years, growing up when I'm young, in a teenager, in Bundaberg, walking around the land. It was just there. It was just amazing. And so I don't know. I don't know where, because I was younger. Suddenly my dad gets another cockatoo. So many, like 10 years later, right? Because I had Rambo when I was really, really young. And so I was in grade 12. So I'm in grade 12 now. So what am I? I'm 18 years old. And dad got a new one called a new bird called Rocky, another cockatoo. Like maybe Rambo wants a friend. So Rocky and Rambo, because that's so my dad. And fine, they played. Rambo didn't really show attention, but Rocky got really, really. It's an actual thing. Felt like it wasn't getting attention, so it got like anxiety. I think it was, and basically it like picked out all its own feathers with its beak, like picked out one feather and like spit it on the ground, and like to the point that I was like, why is it shedding like feathers? And my dad's like, I don't know, it's like picking it out. So I think he brought it to the vet, and it's an actual thing saying that it's jealous, it feels like it's not getting attention, that it's got to share the attention with Rambo. Like Rambo ain't picking his feathers and stuff, so who knows how these birds are communicating to each other, like where humans can't understand, you know what I mean? But it was really, really sad that Rocky ended up, in the first year that we had him, ended up picking out all his feathers, like every single feather. So he was like pink with a beak and the yellow mohawk. Like, I'm not even kidding you. You know those cats that have like no hair? Like, and that freaks me out. Like the cats that have no hair and it's like human skin. That's what the bird looked like, with like the yellow mohawk and like the beak and stuff like that. And I was like, Dad, that's so sad. And he's like, I know, we can't do anything about it. We don't know what to do. And, he was really, really worried. And I couldn't like actually go near it. And I know that sounds bad, but it was like freaking me out looking at it like that. So actually, now that I've seen that and I think back at that, I think humans look weird to other creatures because look at us, like we're just basically skin, and then we have like these random like hair like this, and then eyebrows, and then this, like we must look so weird to other creatures. Anyway, so then I kid you not, Rocky then started like picking his own skin because there was no feathers left. And I was like, and every week it got worse with the chest, and then it started bleeding, and then it got so bad over the weeks and the months that it picked out its own chest and put a hole in its chest, like a hole in its chest, like you could basically see its heart, and it killed itself, which is so sad, and it died. And my dad was really upset because my dad's one of those people where I say he's like Steve-O, and he literally loves animals more than his own kids. He has 2 blue cattles. We have 2 blue cattles and 2 kelpies, and Rocky and Rambo, the birds. So Rocky died within its first year. So that was like, okay, let's not get another bird again, and let's just keep Rambo. I think one's enough. The bird lives for 70 years old. I don't want 2 birds over 140 years. Anyway, so that was it, and Dad got really sad about that. And then it was grade 12. So schoolies, I went to Bundy High, and schoolies is a really big thing where once you finish grade 12, you go down to Cavill Avenue in the Gold Coast, and you party with all the other people in grade 12 around Australia that fly into the Gold Coast, and you stay in hotels and you party for a week. So anyway, I saved up all this money. I'm ready to go. It makes you feel like an adult. I was one of those people who was 18, so I could go clubbing when I went to the Gold Coast, because a lot of people in Queensland actually finish school when they're 17 in Queensland. So then, so I think it was like 2 days before I was flying to the Gold Coast to go to schoolies, I was going to the beach with one of my best mates at the time named Ryan. And I had my license, I had my car, and like I said, we lived in a couple of acres, and I used to park my car in the back, and we went to go to the beach, and Ryan got in, the front seat, I'm driving, and we just started to drive like this, and then we heard like a balloon pop or something, like pop, and I actually thought it was my car wheel that like popped. I was like, fuck, like shit, I think I've got like flat tires and stuff. And then Ryan looked at me and goes, what was that? And I said, I don't know, I think it's my car wheel. So I looked out my side of the window, and like looked fine and stuff. And then he looked out his window, because the noise came from the front when we had the windows down, because my car didn't have aircon, because it cost $2,000, which is a lot of money back then. And he looked out his window, and he goes, oh no. I said, what, Ryan? He goes, oh no. And I said, what? And he goes, you ran over Rambo. And I said, shut up. Oh no, I didn't. He goes, you did, man. I'm like, no. And then my mate literally like opens the front door and runs into the house, because my dad's a little bit scary. Like, he's not scary, wouldn't do anything, but like he's just that guy, like he could be scary, you know what I mean? And like everyone knows how much he loves his animals. And now Ryan's like legged it in the house, left me in the car by myself. And I went out of the car, and I just like saw it underneath my wheel. So I ran over Rambo, and it was like its head was like this hanging out, and its wing, and it's going like this. And I was like, oh my god, I've been brought up with this bird, and I was in shock, and I just didn't know what to do. And like I like ran to the garage, and like I was just trying to come up with like a story, and I think I was in shock. Like, I actually think about it, I'm like 17, 18 years old. I was in shock, and my dad was there with all of his mates drinking his homebrew beer, watching the footy and the boxing and stuff in their man cave. And these were my words when I got to the garage. I stood there and said, Dad, I fucking ran over Rambo. The stupid bird went underneath my car tire. And that's how I just said it to him. And he goes, right. And he just did not say anything. And he just walked really, really slowly. And I could hear like the sound of his thongs walking on the grass. And he saw the same thing I did, where it was like underneath the car tire going like this. And I had to actually get back in the car and reverse to get off it, because the car wheel was still on it, right? And he goes, you need to reverse the car. And he was very, very, very serious, very minimum with his words. And so I reversed off it, and then I just seen him, and I was in the car, and he like picked up the bird and had it in his hand, and it was like still doing that like twitch thing. And then I just seen him get the neck, and he just kill, he had to put it down himself. Like, that's how bad, like I crushed it. Think about a car wheel on like a bird, and he like got its neck and went, and I saw that in front of me, and I'm like, oh my God. And then he just held it there, and then he looks at me and he's like, you killed my bird, son. And I'm like that. And I literally just like ran inside, told my mom's like bawling my eyes out, crying. And then I got Ryan, and I grabbed my stuff for schoolies and we went into the car and I drove to Ryan's mum and dad's house and I stayed there for 2 nights and then I flew to the Gold Coast. Now, so I didn't actually know what happened after that, but I'm gone for a week. I'm now in schoolies. Their youngest son is now in Queensland by themselves partying. I finished school and stuff. I didn't hear from them once. And I thought that was really, really good timing because obviously I didn't mean to do it. Like it was an accident. Like imagine killing the family dog or the bird. And I don't know. I think you just got to like, it's like when someone drops, it's like when you drop a glass, like a waiter drops a glass in hospitality, you know what I mean? Like you feel bad for the person the waiter that dropped it. Like you feel bad for me. I didn't mean to do it. Like imagine how I feel. So anyway, Matt Schooley is partying for a week, you know, I get home 8 days later from the Gold Coast and I thought, okay, it's enough time for my parents to come down. Maybe it's not going to be awkward or anything like that. They would have buried him, maybe had a funeral for him or what so. And I walked in the door to see my parents, ready to tell them stories about schoolies, and I hear my mum going, she's like crying in the lounge room, and I'm like, hey, I'm home. She goes, you killed my bird, sonny boy, you killed my bird. And I'm like, oh my God, like, hi guys, your son, you know what I mean? I could have got murdered at schoolies, I'm home, safe, like, you know what I mean? I've graduated school, blah, 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 but no, none of that. My mum and dad were still mourning over the bird and crying like a week later. So yeah, it was very awkward. Very, very, very awkward. I actually just went up to, my parents live in the Whitsundays now. I went up to the Whitsundays and it was my mum's 70th and they brought up the bird again. And I'm just like, my God, stop bringing up the bird. And what, like even, and my brother still laughs about it. It's like, what about the bird? Like, no, I don't know. Like it was an accident. Everyone's acting as if like, I don't know. Like I just thought when things happen like that, you're meant to help the person that like you feel like, oh, I don't know. It scarred me. It actually scarred me killing Rambo. But that's my true tall tale about how I killed, well, I didn't kill Rocky. Rocky, you know, unfortunately did that to himself, but I accidentally killed Rambo. So note to self, maybe don't have a bird just walking around where the driveway is or something like that. But yeah, horrible, 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 horrible story. And I can just still picture the noise right now. But if you've got a true tall tale and you want me to tell the story or you want me to interview about your true tall tale, doesn't have to be about accidentally killing your family bloody bird or anything like that. It can just be about anything. Reach out to me on truetalltalespodcast@gmail.com or you can reach out to me on any of the socials and I will get in contact with you. Thank you for listening for another episode. Before I go, I just wanted to say, look, this has got nothing to do with anything. I just had this like brain of thought the other day. Anyone that's got an iPhone out there, has anyone noticed how hard it is to put flash on when you're taking a photo? I don't know if anyone's noticed. It's literally like, because you go to take a photo like flat, and everyone's like, no, turn the flash on. Like I'm trying, and it's literally like you got to go to the top. You've got to hit that. You got to hit lightning. After lightning, there's like an upside down arrow. You got to press that, and then on the bottom left, you got to like find lightning again and hit that and press on. Like it's so hard to turn on flash for taking a photo on the iPhone. Has anyone else noticed that and how crazy it is for iPhone being so bloody advanced? But there should just be, you should just be able to press lightning and it turns it on. But no. It's not that easy on the iPhone. Anyway, my name is Sunny Boy. You're listening to True Tall Tales. Be good to your mum and dad. Adios amigos. Bye. Peace out.